So, I don't think, the way I look at it, actually, I don't think any of the impediments are, such that they can't be overcome, okay? The usual stuff around amount of broadband access, for example, keeps coming up. Stuff around how efficient the logistics systems are, keep coming up. Stuff around regulations, especially in the context of, lack of uniform sales tax, extra documentation required in certain states. All of those things keep coming up in the context of online commerce. I think, they're solvable, okay. As we've seen, obviously, the internet access is growing, broadband internet access is growing. With 4G coming in, speeds will improve, so that problem can get solved. Logistics is more painful. It's a real-world infrastructure, but I think players are finding innovative ways of addressing it, and therefore I think while these problems continue to exist, I think they can get solved. I think trust as an impediment or as a barrier has been significantly overcome, and I think as more and more people have good experiences shopping online, I think trust as a barrier will cease to exist. If you just look at the Western markets today, people don't really, for an established player, they don't really question, have issues around trust. They can have a bad experience, but they know it will get redressed. They will get their money back, or they'll get, a replacement item. And therefore, trust, I think, is easier to solve. Things like logistics and regulations, if they're speeded up, then it's better. I think it's become a great response mechanism, an engagement area for clients. So I say that if TV builds credibility and outdoor is to be a reminder medium, and if radio could be, a call to action medium, then social is the response medium, where you are, directly, in touch with your customers and you're able to listen to them directly and have a conversation with them. So I think that you never had that opportunity. You had direct marketing, you had direct response in terms of whether people could fill forms and get back. But here today, in real time, because of social media, you are able to get feedback. And I think that's a fabulous tool. But I must say it's a fabulous tool only for people who want to do something about it, right? So yeah, I mean, it plays a huge role. Does it play anything over or better or lesser? I cannot say. It's hot right now, so it's on everybody's mind, but yeah, it is a very strong aspect, a huge pillar for any brand to exist going forward.
See, finally in e-commerce, almost all products have to get retailed. So let's look at each sector. There is the primary ones which are very B2C, that consumers like to buy goods, electronics, they like to buy books, clothes, accessories, etc. Now these are predominantly people looking for buying a better deal. They're able to actually spend more time to figure out what is better for them. Then they're more transactional, so air tickets, etc. Then there are products which typically have larger margins, and that the margin distribution business comes into there. So it could be anything ranging from let's say cars to services, financial services. You have distribution of any item which is linked to convincing customers. That's going to be linked up to it. And finally, there are going to be niche product lines, so which are not typically available for retail consumers today because they're difficult to get. That happens online also. I think that the success remains on what type of brands are available, what type of payment systems are available, right? And finally, is there a physical way of distributing that product to the consumer? Right? I think online today proposes a lowest cost distribution model, and that's important.
So there are three things that are going to drive e-commerce in the next, let's say, 26 months, okay, next 3 years. Number one is access to the mobile internet, being driven by the launch of 4G LTE services by the Reliances of the world, and that it's going to do two things. One is the cost of access is going to come down significantly. Number two, the number of people who have access to it will go up significantly. The second thing I believe that's happened in the last 1 year, and that's going to really have a huge impact over the next 3 years, is that payments as a problem has been solved. So whether it's cash on delivery, whether it's mobile payments, those things are coming together really interestingly, allowing people to get over the whole problem of credit card payments. I think that's number two. Number three, I think people are all realizing that the role that friends, peers, etc. have in the purchase decision has expanded tremendously. And today we have the tools and the ability to influence that conversation. Brands have woken up to it, communication agencies like us specialize in it, and we now have the ability to go on and say, listen, we can influence that purchase decision. I think there are certain sectors where if you look at the reasons that people buy something, 80% of it is because of recommendation from a friend. So can we be influencing that recommendation in some way or the other? And I think we know how to do that. So if these three things come together the way that we are seeing them come together, next 3 years are really interesting, and these are the three things that will drive e-commerce.
I would see that the platform that we are trying to access on the internet, okay, that platform soon will be available on your mobile phone to access. And if you have a payment mechanism built on your mobile phone, then it becomes further more easier, because then you don't need a credit card or a debit card. And the other challenge that this e-commerce or m-commerce industry has is the small ticket payments. Meaning, I have been talking to a company which has Bollywood content, okay? So they give you exclusive trailers or exclusive pictures, and they want to charge you 5 rupees or 10 rupees for that. Those kind of ticket sizes is not a credit card or debit card kind of a scenario for a ticket size. So here, integrated with your mobile phone, if you can pay for that, or maybe you want to buy a game for say 10 rupees for a month, right? And typically you won't play that ever and ever again. But in that month you have used it and you liked it, you paid 10 rupees and you're done with it. So that is the way it is going to drive. It's all going down to the micro size now again. Yeah.
It's like a life cycle. I mean, 15 years ago we had a huge internet boom and e-commerce boom, and then there was a bust, and now we've had a revival of sorts in India and even in other markets. But this is a wave, and with every wave the technologies get better, the services get better, the products get better, e-commerce gets more creative and more relevant to people. And just like everything else has a wave, e-commerce also has waves. And I think this is another wave of e-commerce, a much more evolved version of e-commerce that we are seeing now. And I think 10 years from now we'll see the next generation, the next wave of e-commerce, which is difficult to predict what that will be, but it will probably be interactive, it will probably be people able to communicate in an interactive format. It could be all kinds of things. It could be visual, 3D based kind of e-commerce formats. It could be even mind reading formats. Anything is possible.